Hi guys, so today I'm gonna react to the Bernie Sanders video that is about the CR bill that was approved yesterday. CR stands for Continuing Resolution, meaning that basically sometimes Congress, well, continuously Congress will pass a bill to avoid shutdown that will basically uh, delegate what's going to be funded for that time period. Unfortunately, in this current CR bill, they're gonna cut anything that is not related to defense. So things such as Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, scholarships through the Department of Education that might be trying to give to schools for students. Any type of fund that is based on SNAP programs, feeding children, free lunches at public schools. Those are all gonna be cut. They're gonna focus just in the military, basically, which is of course not good. And this is most likely what Bunsen is gonna be talking about, lying about why this bill is terrible and why we should not. No Democrats should have voted for this. In the Senate, 10 Democrats did it. That's why it was passed easily. Um, it's really bad news, especially for people who require a lot of help, federal government assistance. So if you're part of the federal government assistance programs like welfare programs like SNAP, food stamps, things like that, those things will be cut. In some states, you may not have any accessibility to that. So it's going to be tough for a lot of people. But again, people who voted for Trump and Republicans into Congress, that's what you voted for. It's unfortunate, but a lot of these people will not learn and they will suffer because of bad decisions they made due to voting because of one single issue, hatred, such as racism towards a specific group of people, xenophobia, etc. That's why voting matters. But let's see what Bunny would say.
I just voted no on this terrible continuing resolution written by right wing Republicans in the House with no input from anybody but themselves. This bill moves our country toward authoritarianism by usurping Congress's constitutional responsibility to determine how federal funds are spent.
So, in other words, by passing this continuing resolution, aka CR bill, now we gave even more power to Republicans, especially to Trump administration, to do whatever they want. It's basically telling Trump that, hey, we're not going to fight against practically any bill that Republicans want to pass in Congress. They can pass and you can sign to law. That's basically what they're telling to Trump and his administration. Now Trump's cabinet is going to be like, oh, we can do whatever we want because even Democrats in Congress are not going to do anything. That's basically what they're saying. When they agree with this horrible bill, it's obviously they're working for even more directly for the wealthy, not for the poor, working class, and middle class people of the United States. And this is a problem because obviously now tens of thousands to millions of people are going to be impacted by this. Not everyone needs it, every single federal government assistance program and all the benefits, but a lot of people do.
And creates at the same time a slush fund for Elon Musk and Donald Trump to continue their war against the working families of our country. This bill puts more and more power into the hands of the White House. At a time when 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck and millions are struggling to keep their heads above water, this bill makes massive cuts to housing, healthcare, and nutrition, jeopardizes the functioning of the Social Security Administration, and continues the Trump administration's attack against veterans and the Veterans Administration.
That's another thing too. So if it's someone who is elderly, like I mentioned, Social Security is going to be impacted, and that could reduce the Social Security benefits. The thing is that Biden actually expanded Social Security benefits, but with this new bill, a lot of those efforts are going to go down to nothing. So people who hated Biden and hated Kamala, you're just going to suffer actually a lot more because at least something was being done before. Now nothing's going to be done. Expect maybe the cap on Social Security to be reduced, so even less people contribute to it. And veterans, which a lot of them have voted for Trump and Republicans into Congress, keep getting always keep getting the ass kicked by Republicans, just like women do, just like a lot of people call it do, just like immigrants, but they keep voting for Republicans. A lot of people in the trades, construction workers, like so let's say electricians, carpenters, masons, painters, etc., keep voting for Republicans even though they love to be part of a union. A lot of them are part of unions, but they keep voting for that party that keeps destroying unions. It makes no sense. Veterans keep voting in general, not all of them, but in general, just like with trades people, keep voting for Republicans, even though Republicans always screw up with veterans. They decrease the veteran benefits. They don't allow transgender people to join the military, even though there's a whole issue with lack of people choosing to join the military in a voluntary way. So a lot of people don't want to join the military. So the few people that do, you make it even hard for them to join because of the sexual orientation and all the BS. It's a problem.
This bill will make the rich richer and the poor poorer. In order to pass this legislation, the Republicans needed 60 votes, which meant that they had to have 7 votes from Democrats, and they got them. Actually, they got 10 votes. That is sad. That is an absolute dereliction of duty on the part of the Democratic leadership. Nobody in this Senate should have voted for this dangerous bill. In America today, as all of you know, we face an unprecedented set of crises. We are moving rapidly toward an oligarchic form of society where Elon Musk and other billionaires are running the government.
Yeah, so oligarchy just means as wealthy people, as Bunny mentioned, Elon Musk. Think about Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, etc., and of course, obviously Trump. These are wealthy people. Oligarchs just mean that the wealthy, the rich, had taken over the government. And oligarch society just means there's a bunch of rich and wealthy people taking a lot away from the poor people. So all these taxpayers who are paying to the system are not getting as much back as they're paying to when it's going mostly to the pockets of the rich and the wealthy. It's a huge issue. That's what it means by oligarchy society or these oligarchs. It just means the rich and the wealthy. For people who may not know.
We are moving rapidly toward authoritarianism, where Trump is ignoring the Constitution and the separation of powers. We are moving rapidly toward a
Separation of powers can also be called checks and balances.
massive Republican bill, a reconciliation bill, that will cut Medicaid and other programs desperately needed by working families in order to provide the 1% with over $1 trillion in tax breaks. And in the midst of all of that, climate change, the existential threat to our planet, is completely ignored by the Republican leadership.
So that's another point. So not only they're reducing all these federal assistance programs and all the really important private services to people in need, they ignore climate change. So climate change is going to keep getting worse as it has been, and with Republicans doing nothing about it, just keep using fossil fuel like nothing happened, keep just oiling, drilling, like Trump said, drill baby drill. That whole mentality would just make the whole climate change crisis much worse. And unfortunately, we are not listening to the people who matter, the scientists. They've been telling us this for decades, if not a century plus already. It's ongoing issue that all of this is just to keep making the rich richer because they think about the moment now. They're not thinking about what's going to happen 50, 100 years from now. They don't care. Even though it might impact their grandkids, their great grandkids, etc. But to them, they care about the now.
So, where do we go from here? As you've heard me say many times, the economic and political crises facing our country will not be solved here in Washington, D.C. The system is just too corrupt. As a result of Citizens United, billionaires are able to spend unlimited sums of money buying and selling politicians, and that is what they do.
Yeah, citizens and Citizens United, it was just something the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to. They made a decision. They basically made a decision where millionaires and billionaires are allowed to fund as much as they want any political campaign with no limits. Like Elon Musk basically did that for Trump, and we saw that with Kamala Harris' campaign also, which I think $1 billion plus. Basically, millionaires and billionaires can do that because the Supreme Court said they can. And Citizens United basically create a situation where now corporations are considered people. So it makes things more complicated. And this just makes things even better for the rich and the wealthy. So for people, this is a nutshell what Citizens United means.
Further, on any given day, thousands of corporate lobbyists roam the halls of Congress doing the bidding of their corporate masters. If there has ever been a time in the modern history of our country where ordinary people at the grassroots level have got to stand up and fight back, now is that time. Now is the time to reclaim our democracy. Now is the time to demand that we have an economy that works for all of us and not just the billionaire class. Now is the time for each and every one of us, as proud Americans, to get involved in the political process in any and every way that we can.
One way to do that, and many people failed. At least 89 million people. At least 89 million people failed to do this. Is voting. Voting is one of the easiest things that American citizens can do to prevent these humongous, horrendous actions and situations from happening. So for the 89 million people that didn't vote, really take it seriously. Reevaluate. Make the time to vote. If you live in a state that allows you to vote earlier, go ahead and vote. If you have to vote by mail instead of in person, make sure you register to vote by mail only. Make your life easier. If that's feasible, if that works for you. If not, still vote in person. Do what you gotta do because then these things happen. Run for office. I said this many times before too, in my own private life and all that. Talk to many people. Run for office. You want to have a progressive policies as a norm of your state or even your city. Become the mayor. Run for a state legislature, try to run for governor. Yeah, those things can be hard to win, but at least try. Run for Congress. There's certain positions in every state that, especially for mayor positions or being part of the school board, the public school board, that sometimes people win with no opposition. So you could win positions if you just try and campaign a little bit without having to spend much money, if at all. Because no one knows who to vote except for that one name they see. They won't just they're not gonna write you in general. So you have to run and say something. Sometimes using YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, uh, Blue Sky, etc., can be enough to spread the word. Try those things, or do I do? I work as a state government employee. That's contributing to providing private service to people and understand a little bit more how bureaucracy works in the government.
Because here is the simple truth: the vast majority of the American people, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see us maintain a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to buy elections. The vast majority of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see Congress give tax breaks to billionaires and cut programs that low income and working families need. The vast majority of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see a handful of billionaires running our government. The vast majority of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, do not want to see us lose our democracy and move toward authoritarianism. The truth is, we can stop all of the.
So authoritarianism just means that basically US is becoming more and more, even more than ever before, a dictatorship. Meaning that you're gonna have one person, aka Trump, who's basically the supreme leader of the country, and he'll be able to do whatever he wants via official actions, memos, executive order, rather near Congress, and just change the way the US is. Make it even more of a capitalist country than it already is. Just cut any funding he wants, get rid of people he doesn't want, impeach any judge he wants, or put them in prison because they're going against him. That's a dictatorship. That relates to being making the country an authoritarian country. That's fascism. It literally takes away your rights. So then you live in fear and under the control of the rich and the wealthy.
That we can create a government that works for all of us and not just the few. But as evidenced today, it ain't going to happen here in Washington. It's going to happen out in your community, and in your community, and in your community. We are the majority. They are the 1%. The vast majority of the people are with us. They have the billionaires. Let us go forward together. Let us create the kind of nation you and I know that we can become. Thank you very much.
I agree with Bernie Sanders and also with AOC. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening. In general, American citizens vote based on single issues. They're single issue voters, and they only do things that impact them. I've seen a lot of people who suddenly now care because they're Puerto Rican. Now Puerto Ricans were made fun of. Now they care, but they didn't care when transgender people were being murdered every day, and still are. Or you see someone, a man, coming out, oh, my pockets are getting impacted. So now that you're losing your job, you lost a federal contract with the federal government. Now you care. Now when women lost their rights, and this keeps happening. You see, trace people. I can't believe I know now. I can my union. It's not functioning, or they lost a contract, or now I got fired, or my company fired me. The media tried to create, form a union. Well, then you vote for someone who, aka Trump, who hates unions. So you only cared until you didn't care before when it was impacting the unions of federal government employees. But they were potentially getting screwed over by Trump. You didn't care when they're gonna get screwed, but now they got screwed. Now you might care a little bit. People gotta stop caring about themselves. You should vote in behalf of others. Vote to improve the lives of everyone, not just yourself. Don't wait until you finally impact in a negative way. Now you're gonna do something. It's a problem in the US, unfortunately, and I don't see that really changing quickly. Know a couple people who are not like that, but most people I know only do something because it impacts them. Or they're waiting to find impacts them, now they will do it, which could be too late. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Well, Bernie Sanders said if you agree with him, if you think the CR bill should not have passed, if you think it should have, you agree with it, why? If you think a government shutdown is better than not passing it, explain why. I'd like to maybe have a conversation about this. Maybe we can learn from each other. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you're watching this on TikTok, follow us on TikTok as well. And again, I'll try to reply to any comment I think is worthwhile replying to as I can. All right, guys, have a good day.